I'm Rob, this is Kharadon Scale Model Studios, and we'll just get set up just a minute, and then we'll start with the building, painting, chatting, and we'll take it from there. Just bear with us 2 seconds. Okay, there we are. So I can see the chat on the screen. So yeah, we'll just crack on because it's easier to do it, and when people watch it, it's quite a nice chilled out stream. It's like company that you can have whenever you want. I've got a nice cup of coffee because I made the mistake last time of becoming unprepared, and we chatted so much it was quite rough on the old throat afterwards. So a little bit of a catch me up for those joining. I've just started a Kharadon Overlords project. I did pick up a start collecting box in the first live. I did go through the contents of the box, what you got in there, scrolls, and we had a look at absolutely everything. I have done a little bit of painting for those who are on Instagram and do follow me. I've completed most of the dirigible section, and I've just, in actual fact, about 20 minutes ago, I've glued the supports on. I think I'm going to go with a blue and ivory style color scheme. I think that's quite nice. I've painted in the ether things. I'm not quite sure of the names on everything just yet, but I do have some facts about them, which we'll talk about later. That was actually really fun to do. I'm looking forward to doing more of those. And I did manage to get the majority of the boat sprayed. This is just Runefang steel. It's kind of like a nice rose gold color, I suppose. But it takes the brass really easy. I'm using a combination of brass scorpion and skull crusher brass with, just a little dab of this mixed into this, and it kind of gives this really nice warmer bronze type of color, as you can see there with the sections. So I'm gonna start painting in some of these little bits here that, as you can see, are standing out a little bit. I might change the head to maybe a brighter gold, I'm thinking, for these little bits. I think that'd be quite nice to catch the eye. But that's we'll come to that once all the colors are down, and sometimes you've got to let the model kind of do the talking in that type of sense. But I have made sure that everything fits quite nicely, which it does. That's always something I'm really careful of. So everything's nice and snug, and it does kind of fit in quite well. So I've been conscious with my sub-assemblies as I go, just to make sure everything's constantly lining up and it is being, I'm checking it all. And then the only thing I haven't actually unclipped yet at the minute are the bombs, which I have here, as I will probably tackle these one of the last things I do. And I also have the crew, which I haven't done anything with just yet, but I think they are going to be fairly good test models for me, because I think the next thing I'm going to do are the Endriggers. So I think between them, it's going to be a combination of these and this section. So once I've got the color schemes down for your standard troop and the boat, I can actually squish them together for the Endriggers. So I'm not going to rush into these guys. I'll probably, depending on how much room I've got around things, I'm quite conscious of that. That once everything's on, I can actually still quite easily get to all these little sections to glue them in, which is, once again, just something I'm a little bit careful of. But we don't have to attach this straight away, but we are going to try and finish this section today completely. If I can, I will move on to starting the boat, or hull or type thing, whatever it is. I think I'm going to do with this a white stripe with brass trim, and I think I'm going to do the bottom sections blue, maybe a dark blue and a lighter blue. I will actually do this brass, this kind of like bulbous kind of area here, and all the extra bits. Obviously, the deck will be silver, and yeah, that's kind of it for the gun hauler. It's a fantastic model. I wanted to talk a little bit about it today, actually, while painting. Normally, I get little things like these propellers here and stuff like that, and I think, oh my god, you know, I've got to paint both sides of these, and you know, I picked out all the brass trim and things like that. But with this model, I kind of sat there and was just like, all right, cool, yeah, let's do the next one. And it felt like no effort at all, which to me, you know, it just shows that I'm really enjoying the model, and I am quite enamored with it at the moment. I've been trying to watch some lore videos and things, but lore isn't really my cup of tea. I do struggle with a lot of the lore. I find it quite, I guess, intimidating, overbearing, I think is a great way of saying it. There's a lot of lore and history of Warhammer, and for those that don't know, I've been doing things like this for about 5 years now. I originally started as I painted Gundams, and it's only where I kind of got a little bit disinterested there that I went into my local games workshop and picked up some miniatures, and yeah, that was 5 years ago. Well, it'll be 5 years in January, so it's all still very new to me. I do play ogres, and I know a lot about ogres. They are my boys. Anyone that obviously once again follows me on Instagram will know my love for ogres is second to none. But I always struggle with learning stuff for like new factions. I find it quite hard sometimes to pick up a new faction and be like, right, okay, so what's these guys about? And be interested and generally care. I tend to not learn about a faction until I maybe am interested in painting them. Like I've been to a tournament before. I did make a video on it, but also at the same time, I'm not that bothered about playing. You know, I'm not one for competitive lists and things like that. That's not me. I would rather have a game and a laugh with my pals and just, you know, do silly things and stuff like that, rather than, you know, make these breaking lists and stuff. And that's, you know, might be part of me there. I kind of, I like the idea of crazy stuff like this. I want everything on floating bases and stuff like that. Good evening, Penge. I do hope you're well. Thanks for popping in. I hope you've got a brush in your hand and you're going to be painting along. But yeah, I don't really learn about factions and stuff like that until I'm ready to kind of play them or gain a bit of interest in them, as I just find it's just too much to catch up on. And I think that for me is one of Warhammer's kind of like hardest aspects to get your head around as a new player, is there's so much history and lore that it becomes very difficult to feel like you're ever going to catch up or know where to start, or, you know, what's been redacted and changed through the years, or, you know, it's I find that bit's always a bit difficult for me. So I tend to stay away from like the lore and Black Library especially. I just, you know, it's not me. I have tried to read a few of the books. I tried to read The Great Wolf, and I thought it was the biggest load of tripe going. If I'm completely honest with you, I found it really, really hard. It was very how to say? It was very it was just too much. It was just everything was. He scoffed, he scathed, he growled, he sneered, you know, it was all very just, I don't know. It just, to me, wasn't a great bit of writing, maybe to a Warhammer player. Yeah, absolutely. But once again, you know, my first army was Space Wolves. I have a lot of love for Space Wolves. I said in my last stream, if they do a plastic Lumen Russ, I will. I swear to God, I'll paint a Legion. But I do find, while we're on the subject of some Space Wolves, GW struggles to know what to do with the Wolfie boys, which is a shame because I do think they're a great faction. Good evening, Ems. How are you? Once again, thanks for stopping in. But yeah, I Black Library just screams bad writing in my eyes. And I can show you bad writing because I wrote erotic fan fiction a little while ago as a bit of a laugh. It was a Nurgle themed one about two great unclean ones having sex in the post office. So you know, I'm a bit of a wordsmith myself, if you will. But even I struggled with the Black Library stuff. So there we go. Oh, chippy tea. What did you have with it? I actually had burgers tonight and I had them with blue cheese on. Oof, that hit a spot. Could have done with a couple more of them actually. But they were very, very much needed after today. Work today was just... The company I work for, we close a little bit early on a Friday. And today just felt like it went on forever. The great unclean one, erotic fan fiction, I'll have you know, was a New York bestseller. So, you know, that's where I'm going with that one. I was offered a spot in the Reader's Digest, but I did politely turn it down, as I don't think they were quite ready for what I was willing to put out. It was a bit too radical, a bit too out there. So I yeah. Okay, so you're is it Lancashire you're from? Right, a barm cake. What's a barm cake? Do you mean a roll? Is that what you mean, like a bread roll? Because you can't come around here calling things like rolls barm cakes. That's, you know, what, blimey. We did a thing a little while back on this actually on one of the live Instagram shows I do with Free Spice Gaming Group. It's what people call rolls up and down the UK. And there's some fantastic names for them. They really are. A roll, a barm cake. It's not a cake, is it? Did you not have like battered sausage or maybe like cod and chips or a bit scampi? Anything, you know, just... I find that whenever I have things like... I love fish and chips. I've got to have something. I can't just go in and have chips. I have to treat myself to like a sausage or something like that. I can't just have, you know, chips. Jaffa cake. Well, I don't know. Jaffa cake's a bit of a grey area there because it's a bit too spongy for my liking to be called a biscuit. A biscuit needs to be firmer. So I would err on the side of yes, a Jaffa cake is a cake. Because a biscuit is firmer. Firm. So yeah, but also if you are you have popped on and you know what you're working on tonight, what you're doing. Don't just be like sitting here watching you, because that's proper boring. Like, lie if you're gonna come up with stuff like that. Make something up. It's Friday night. If your Friday night is watching me on YouTube, unless you're watching me on a rerun, you've made poor life choices, or good ones. I don't know. Let's go with good ones actually. Let's be self-appreciating today. Way. Oh, so you a vegetarian or is it like strict vegan? Or is it just completely like anything, you know, from... Because I know I always say this wrong. It's a pescatarian, not Presbyterian. Is ones that eat fish but not meat, I believe. That might be wrong. I think I said it the right way around, but I'm not sure. Just trying to block in these. I think base coating's like, it's quite a boring thing to do, really, isn't it? So, once it's all done, it certainly brings something to the model. Now, I'm wondering what colour to do this. I might do this little section blue, these silver. I think would probably be white. You like what you like. There's no millennial about it. I did vegetarian for a little while, and even now, every couple of weeks I will dip back into it, as I do believe it's a great way of weight loss and stuff like that. And I do like to stay in shape. I like running. For those who don't know, I love running. I do long distance running. I do a lot of runs for charities. I always do the same charity, which is Hodgkin's Lymphoma. I do Lymphoma Action UK, as it's a charity that's extremely close to my heart. But I do, I do occasionally do a vegetarian. I do 2-3 days in a row, or I do like vegan food 2-3 days in a row. And I got to admit, when I was younger, I tried doing it, and it was quite difficult because, I'll be honest with you, the food fucking sucked. But now it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better, and there's a lot of different kind of brands out there, and they are, even like, I know it sounds really weird, but look at the plant. It's a really good burger on its own, as opposed to being something that's quite friendly like that. So yes, everything is coming on leaps and bounds in this day and age, which is quite good. Are you working on anything tonight, Ems? Have you got anything going on your end? Just trying to base coat these sections. So I did learn something about this ether stuff that's supposed to be in here. I thought it was quite cool. I was actually watching 2 Plus Tough Doug about 20 minutes ago, because I thought, oh my god, I should talk about Kharadons, really. And this is their currency that's in here. So their currency, which is the ether gold, is also what powers their ships. And what they do is they mine it, and in its form, it's a gas. But when it's compressed, it actually becomes their currency. So I thought that was quite a cool little tidbit there, that they it's stuff like that that makes the world feel quite believable. It's not only like their currencies, how they make it. The chef bust is looking absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed, in actual fact, you should do more of them, because I was at work at the time, and I was able just to pop it up on my desktop. And although I was away from my computer sometimes, it was quite nice to pop it down and just kind of like close the emails, and there it was. And yeah, it's quite enjoyable to have that during working hours. Actually, you should do more unsociable houred streams. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, actually. And it was quite impromptu as well, so that was good fun. So for the silver bits, I've actually been using this, the Army Paint or War Paints. This is gunmetal. I find this covers really well. It's on par with Lead Belcher, but I don't know, it feels a little bit easier. So I've been using that to do my silver sections, which I think is turning out quite nicely, if I'm completely honest with you. Maybe I should just do him really bright silver. I don't know. We'll paint this up and then we'll take it from there. We're not going to spend too much time on this section either because I really want to get this done. The hull of the ship is absolutely calling out to me, and I'm desperate to slap some paint on it, if I'm honest with you. If you haven't as well, Em's over on Instagram on Darkened Wings. They have just finished up the Necromunda Ash Waste box, and it looks so good. If you are kind of doing this, do go and check them out. I will afterwards I'll put a link to their Instagram in the comments below, just because it's a topic, it counts, and fuck it, it's my stream, I don't want. Seriously, go and look at it. It's absolutely amazing. I always find it really rare that people buy all these models and they kind of like paint 1 or 2 models and then they stop and they move on to the next product. And it's kind of like you never really see like a whole box set complete, which I find. I mean, maybe I'm a parent, so my income has to be spent pretty wisely. I can't go off and buy stuff. I actually missed out on Ash Waste. I do a lot of Necromunda stuff. I love the Necromunda scenery, but I just couldn't afford the £180 to. It was just a bit too much out there for me, so I was insanely jealous. But seeing Emma paint their box up has been an absolute joy, and I don't know, I just like seeing what people do with their vision. I think that's something I've always really enjoyed about this hobby is not only is it a very level playing field, but a guy in a wheelchair can play against a jacked up sports guy, and it doesn't make a difference because it doesn't actually involve much physical kind of exertion, if that makes sense. And I've always really liked that. But also is that you can give someone a model and you can give it to 10,000 people. 10,000 people in their heads will come up with a different paint scheme. And I think that's so good. Like, that's the jam in my bread right there. So, yeah, I really am for that. And I think it's a good hobby to have. I think it's a real good, chilled hobby to be a part of, to just chat and connect with people and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, you always get some stinkers. You'll get that wherever you go. That's life, unfortunately. However, for the most part, I find it's and I say stinkers, it's probably a bad word. Just maybe different people that aren't necessarily for you. Like I've played a few people in the past where I thought maybe I wouldn't play an opponent like this again. And I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm not a big player, so it was quite a I'm not a stickler for the rules or whatever. I tend to be, I don't know, doing a little dance or taking piss out myself or anything like that. I just want to go and have a bit of a laugh with my pals and move some little models around the table. That's to me is what it's about. Sometimes I do wish that I could bury myself a bit more into the hobby, but also at the same time I just don't have the time to. I have too much other stuff going on. That's why I try and choose my wisely my time, how I manage it, and how I structure my videos and things like that, because I like to educate. I've always been a firm believer that knowledge should be free, and that I'm always available for anyone that wants help with anything, or I'm only ever a message away, and that's something that I'm actually really, really proud of, that I've become a point of information for people, and that they feel confident enough to approach me, even though maybe they don't know me, to ask questions. And I think that's also something that I'm, it's one of the values of my hobby content, if you will, is that I am approachable, and I just like chatting to people. I think there's a lot of cool people out there that I've never met, and how you connect to people is half of it. So that's that. Now I think I've splotched a little bit there, which isn't the end of the world. I think I'm going to give a wash to everything. Maybe let's go gold on this head. Yeah, no, and absolutely. And do you know what? I think that's the right way of doing it, is getting a box set, painting it, and doing it. Like I don't like to hang on to things. It is my, I guess, crux sometimes. I do think, oh man, I shouldn't have given that away or whatever. So I tend to just do little giveaways, or I'll just give stuff. Occasionally I'll just paint models and send them out to my friends, and I'd rather see something be used than just sit there collecting dust, because I know what I'm like as a person. I'm never going to use that, so I tend to not. But that's that's just how I manage kind of like stuff. But I like to get something and do it, like the engine master that come with this set. See, I know in my head I need the one with the dirigible suit, because it's going to be for the army that I've envisioned. So it's no good to me. So like my first instinct is, just give it away, and let someone else have a chance of kind of just doing it. And while we're on the subject of that, is if anyone is watching, the Engine Master it's available worldwide. Like, I'm not worried about shipping or anything like that. I'll cover all of that. The only stipulation is to just be subscribed to me on YouTube. And if you're already subscribed to me on YouTube, then guess what? You've already been entered. It's as easy as that. I do really, really appreciate the support. It's not easy being a small channel on YouTube, because you see these other perks and benefits from having more subscribers and stuff like that. It is difficult to build that. Sometimes you need that little edge. So I think sometimes a giveaway is good in that type of respect. Yes, I do see the people go mad set after set. Now I think that stems from, obviously, that's FOMO. That's all FOMO. That's people worried about missing out on something, so they go and buy it. When really, if you sat back and you thought about it, you'd realise that box set isn't actually going anywhere. Unless it's a limited run, and it's normally stated that it is. It's not going anywhere. You don't need to rush. But I find, like with a lot of people, they kind of get into, and you see it, because you get the people that call it piles of opportunity, and you get people that call it piles of shame. And I find, like, people who do piles of opportunity tend to be more optimistic about their thing, and they really enjoy the collection and things. I actually wrote a blog post about this over on my WordPress, cattlerabbit.com. It's on my link tree in my Instagram if you want to go back and read it, where I actually interviewed 10 hobbyists, 5 hobbyists, who had different varying degrees of a hobby backlog. And actually, in fact, one of the people that I did interview was Guy and Penny from Midwinter Minis. And they, I asked them the same questions I asked absolutely everyone else. And you know what? I got 5 different responses from the people that I interviewed. And it was really interesting to see how people looked at their kind of backlog. Some people, in a heartbeat, was, I think one of the questions I asked was, if I offered you the money, how much you paid for that right now, would you take it? And I think like 3 out of the 5 said, no, man, I like my backlog. It's my collection. Whereas, a couple turned around and said, like, I'll bite your hand off for it. Because I think what happens with the hobby, you do get carried away. Like I did when I first got in. I was buying all the Stormcast models. I had to have them all. Even a dude with the trumpet, and he was crap. But I just wanted him because he was Stormcast and it was new. And I was like, yeah, I love this. And then I think what happens with a lot of people is they get into a project and they're like, yeah, this is great. I'm into this, and they kind of get like, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through, and then you get a bit bored of painting the same thing after a while. Like it takes a special person to paint an army. It's not easy. It requires a lot of dedication, and I think that's one of the other things I really like about this is the effort people put into their armies. Absolutely stunning. But so they kind of go, oh, well, I'll grab this little army and I'll have a bit of a palette cleanser. So you go off and you start painting them, and you kind of think, actually, I really like this. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and you've only got a small force planned, and maybe you've splurged a bit too much or whatever, and then you kind of go, but this new release, and I'm going to start one of them. Before you know it, you've painted 3/4 of one army, half of one army, and then you're just kind of like, before you know it, you've got a backlog of like 2 or 3 armies that you're never going to paint or play with, and it gets a bit overwhelming for people, I think. It kind of like, you kind of sit there and you go, well, I'm never going to finish this now because I've accumulated so much stuff. Yes, you do have to stay focused, and you have to be, the more you enjoy something is the more, you are going to do it. And I find when you enjoy a project, it really shows. Like, I hope with this project, people can see that, it's something that I've really enjoyed. And goes, you know what, it really shows in your painting when you enjoy something. I think it does. But I do think sometimes people get a bit overwhelmed and they go a bit crazy with these new box sets and things, and you can kind of spot the ones sometimes that are all over the place, and deep down you're not gonna finish that. You're probably not even gonna start it, which is the worst thing. And it's, I just, that's where I think people will like, and I know they get a bad rap. I think Discourse Miniatures is quite a good, I'd say, mouthpiece for the hobby, because she generally cares about consumers being ripped off, and I really like that. I like that she's trying to make people realize that sometimes you're not getting the best deal, and that maybe if you just looked at things from a slightly different angle, that you would see that you're not actually being done any favors or anything like that. And I've seen it a few times as a consumer, whereas like a great example was the Stormcast Eternals, the brand new codex with the dragons in. Now, I thought this was absolutely baffling. The dragons hadn't even been released and they'd changed the war scroll. Congratulations, you now have a book that's completely out of date and you haven't even had a chance to play with the models. And like, people were thanking them for like catching this early. I'm thinking, no, what are you doing? You've now got like an out-of-date book that you can't use, and it's ridiculous. And I do wish more people would kind of see that. Maybe this stems from me not being a player. I can quite easily go without a codex. I don't have a Kharadon's codex. I don't have a Gene Stealer's codex, and yet got quite a few of the range. But I just think, like, man, people are absolutely crazy. It's basically, fucking someone's wife in front of them and then thanking you. And it's like, that's your thing. I'm not kink shaming. But that to me is very much what it's like. And I just think, wow, that's some dedication to a company there that, couldn't really give a shit about, I don't say you as a person, but as an individual, maybe as a consumer, yeah, there's some kind of form of care there, but not as an individual. And that's where I think it goes horribly wrong for a lot of people. And I just, maybe I'm a bit more strong-willed. I like to think I am, but that's where I am with it. So yeah. But slightly off topic there. The Kharadon Overlords. So I've been looking and I've been using a combination of the Azure app, which I still have on my phone, funny enough. It still works. So I've got all the War Scrolls for free. All the people that are paying for Warhammer Plus to get War Scrolls, you can just not just use Azure. So I think I came up with I can't even speak, a little list that's going to suit what I want out of my Kharadons, what I where I want to go with them, and like what I want to play style, and I will go through that in just a minute, because I will need to let some of this wash dry, because I'm not going to go mental with it. I am just going to touch in these sections here. And while I just wait for that, I've actually been using these spray paint lids, which is fantastic for these dirigible sections because it just sits in it. So let me grab some paper. Yeah, see, I think that's really naughty when they do stuff like that. They know when stuff's going to go out of date, but until they get the nod, it's still a product that they've got to sell. And they're still a shop, and it's very unethical what they do. And I think that's the problem, is that these new codexes, they're not cheap. 30 odd quid for like a rule book that really only lasts you a couple of months now. And that's if, it doesn't get replaced within 6 months, Luminef. And I just think it's awful the way they do that. I really do. I think codexes should last, until the next codex, which should really be every 2 or 3 years. Okay, you might need a few tweaks here and there, but other than that, I think it's really wrong how they do that, which is a shame. So I do have, I've got I made a spreadsheet because nerd. So originally I was going to go with a pre-existing Skyport. I was going to do Barak Urbaz because it made my gun haulers battle line. However, I had to run an ether chemist as my general, which I didn't want to do. And I didn't like some of the other, like you pick an article, an amendment, and a footnote. And although the article was okay, the amendment and footnote just kind of didn't do it for me. Maybe I'm not seeing it, how it all gels together, and I might need to go back and try it or change it or play under certain Skyfleet rules. I don't know. But so what I've decided to do was kind of make my own Skyport. And I found a fantastic little name generator, which actually I didn't save the link for. I'm a little bit gutted actually, because it's really good. And I just cycled through them and stuff like that. And in actual fact, my pal from Denmark, I learn a little bit of Danish here and there, just odd little bits. And the word for cloud in Danish is sky, but the word for sky is himmel. So because I'm doing blue and white, I thought, okay, they kind of look like clouds, don't they? So I'm going to do Barak Himmel. Now, my article, I'm allowed to pick out of a set of 3. So I like settle the grudges, pick one enemy unit, and I can re-roll attack rolls of 1 or hit rolls of 1 against that unit, which I thought was quite cool. Or I like Master of Disguise, which was re-roll hit rolls of 1 for sky vessels against flying units. So as long as it's a unit that's flying, my sky vessels can re-roll 1s, which I thought in some instances would be good, but like if you're playing orcs, that's completely pointless. So therefore settle the grudges would be the better one to have. However, my amendment, I can have prosecute wars with all haste, which is in turn 1 units can run and shoot in the same move. So even if I don't get first turn, I can close gap, or if I do get the first turn, I can close the gap quite nicely. And then for my footnote, I'm going to do without our ships we are naught, because I want to have a lot of floating boats and people and stuff, was once per battle he'll defree to a friendly sky vessel. Arcanaut that's maybe taking a bit of battering. The big stuff. I think we'll do that. So the plan is to maybe pick another start collecting box, get another gun hauler, another 3 Endriggers, another 5 Thunderers, then to buy a frigate. I'll put the 10 Thunderers in the frigate, so I'll have 2 units of 5 in there, and then I'll maybe to an ironclad, or I do need a general with the dirigible suit. So, and actually, I need him pretty early actually, because he makes my Endrigger's battle line. Because if not, the only standard battle line Kharadons have is the Arcanaut Company, which I thought was a bit poo actually. I was surprised Thunderers weren't just basic battle line. I do think they're an army that could probably maybe do with a few extra unit types to open up battle line a bit more. That would be quite nice. But hey ho, they've had a book out for a couple of years, so here's hoping that they get one. You know, maybe some new units would be quite nice soon. But I'll see. Not gonna hold my breath. But until they do, I probably won't pick up a codex until they actually have a new book, as I just don't see the point right now. I'm not planning on playing any games until I painted stuff. I do fall into a bit of a weird category where I don't like to field stuff. I like to play games until everything's painted. That's just me. I'm a bit odd like that. And yeah, so that's what I think I'm going to do with it. I've tried to be a bit more structured with this force. Normally I'm just like, yeah, go with that. And I still want to put the rule of cool first and foremost with absolutely everything, but also at the same time, I do just want to have a little bit of, if I do play, you know, I'm going to put up a little bit of a fight. I've got a little survivability in my chops, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm looking at this and I'm quite happy with it. I think I'm going to change his massive face to maybe bright gold, and maybe these little things to gold as well, because then that's quite nice. So I've got bronze, silver, blue and ivory, and then maybe some gold. I think that's probably where I'm going to go with these guys. So let's get the gold out. I think I've got some retributor here. Let's just have a swig of coffee. Give the metallic a good shake. So that's where we are. I've seen these really weird likes. I mean, I've been rambling on for like 45 minutes already. And all I've done is shit on Black Library. Told you Codex is a waste of money. And I've gone on about god-awful colour combinations. But hey, that's it. That's the name of the game. And obviously I did just want to keep this for YouTube. I suppose I'm quite a slow painter, but I do really enjoy it. I enjoy painting a lot. A hell of a lot. So maybe gold. So let's maybe put some on here and see how it kind of contrasts with everything else. Now that's quite nice. Maybe we'll do his beard as well, this bit here. No, fuck it, let's just paint the whole thing brown. Let's do that. There we go. Yeah, I think that's quite nice actually. If not, it was like, I'm going to paint it a colour. But then what colour do you paint it? Maybe yellow? I love all the little ornate details on these things. I think it's great, all the little details, these, you know, Dwarden symbols and that they have on these. I do very much enjoy it. I've got some ideas for maybe small little conversions for maybe some of my stuff. I'm still toying around with the idea of basing. I love doing bases and things, but I'm not sold on the idea that I've got in my head of maybe doing them over like coastal rocks. So what do we think of that? That's quite nice, isn't it? Is that too near the bronze though? Let's go with that. Screw it. I need to get a few more bits before I attempt it. I think I know what I'm doing with it, and I think in my head I've got a kind of plan of how I want it to look. However, I don't know. I'm a little bit unsure. I don't know whether I'm sold on the idea of maybe like a coastal theme. I kind of like the idea of having clear bases for these guys. So then, you know, they could just really fit in with every battlefield that they're on. And I know you can get some really nice clear acrylic bases, but it's kind of uneventful, that, isn't it? It's a bit of a shame that there's something quite charming about a base, and there's something I really like doing about putting them together. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to spend some time looking at third-party things, because someone's got to have fallen into this kind of category as well. It can't just be me. But hopefully I can come up with something and get, you know, I've got a bit of time before I do. I don't have to do the bases straight away either, so there is that. I think my problem is I tend to stress a little bit over when I don't know what I'm doing or how it's going to look up, because, you know, sometimes your model needs to complement your base and vice versa. So I think in the back of my mind I'm a little bit kind of worried about it, but I'm sitting there thinking, is this going to work? You know, am I going to do it and the scheme's not going to go with it and I'm going to have to change it, or, you know, what? So that's where I kind of am with basing at the moment. But like I said, we're not going to worry about that just yet. So I quite like this little, I think gold was a good shout here. Who suggested that? Oh, it was me. Let's do that. Let's stick with the gold. I think I'm just going to wash it down. Maybe some sepia would be quite nice. I also need to do them little kind of buttons there. And then I'm definitely calling this section done. Just a cheeky edge highlight of maybe Pallid Witch on the white. And I'm actually using Celador Sky, and I'm highlighting with Techless Blue, which seems to go quite nicely. I guess blues, haven't really done a lot of blues. These are from when I originally painted my Maw Crusher, which was, blimey, 4 years ago now. And still good. Just to show, if you look after your paints, they will look after you. Let's just pop these sections in here. I know a lot of people do swear by dropper bottles and things like that. I've never really had a problem with either, but I've also had a problem with both. Whereas I've had dropper bottles, kind of, the nozzles clog up if you don't wipe them or stuff, and you know, the GW paints, sometimes they don't close properly because and I do it, I use the edge of the pot as like a little lid to wipe my brush, and I really shouldn't, but hey ho, that's just something we do. And yeah, but I've also had, you know, my dropper pot, when I put it against a flat surface and a little bit of paint gets around the rim, and before you know it, a couple of times later, and yeah, you've got a crusty dropper bottle. So I think sometimes people make it out that it's cool to hate on certain things, but I definitely think both styles have their flaws. So I'm not prepared to kind of completely slag off the Citadel pots, because I don't know, it's not a great bunch to begin with, so that's where we are. I will also say that I had a lot of comments on Instagram about how I did the ether tank thing. Now, I did go on to the Games Workshop TV, Warhammer TV thing, and I did look at some old videos regarding you know, how they painted their, because they did a gun hauler, and all I did was very kind of loosely follow that method with the colors and stuff like that, and I think it turned out quite well actually. So that's all that was. That's where I got the color choices from. I'm not going to take credit for that because it's certainly not my work. Okay, so let's just give him a bit of a silvery. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that. Let's give him a wash and then we'll call this section done. I'm quite chuffed with how that bit's looking. I know it's only a gun hauler, it's quite a small little ship, but you know, 10 wounds, do some damage and stuff, so I want it to look nice. So that's where I am with this. I tell you what I am also going to do. I'm just going to add a little highlight just to these. Just because you're going to see these sections. I'm not so worried about these ones in here. I'm just going to follow that up a little bit. Maybe to there. I can imagine these guys probably look after their stuff. You know, the Kharadons, they do everything for money. So, you know, currency's at the forefront. So I'm assuming that, you know, they do look after their stuff. So let's wash the gold with. Or should I go right? No, I won't do right click flesh shade. Let's do sepia. Where is the sepia tone? It's there. Nice. Wow, look at that. Just goes to show this is scraping the barrel here. I actually have an extra pot in my little container just next to me, but I very rarely do I knock stuff over. However, I did knock over a known oil on my my Instagram live the other week, and it was caught. Oh my god, it's like no one seemed to notice, and there's me frantically trying to mop up known oil live before anyone says anything to me. But all good fun at the end of the day. But yeah, I've been for a few. I've actually people have witnessed me using the last of pots before, so you know, I've been quite fortunate to have not so many spillages. But I can remember the first time I did do it, and it literally went everywhere. It got all under the cutting mat, and it just kind of blotted. And I was like, "Oh my god, what am I going to do?" And I was desperately trying to soak it up with like a pipette thing to not waste it. And I was like, "Oh my god, you know what I've done?" And yeah, it was an absolute disaster. I was just spreading it in, and it's like, you know, I'm just making it worse. So I did kind of like, oh my god. So I tend to be quite careful. But since then, aside from the other day, I've gotten away with not spilling stuff. So let's just touch in his beard, because I don't want his beard to be yellow. I want it to be nice and silver. So we're just gonna just touch these in. Just get some of that off. There we go. Okay, I think that looks quite good. So I think I'm definitely going to set this aside, and I'm going to call that section. Oh no, I need to do highlights, don't I? Blimey, what a dingbat. Let's just add some quick highlights to the blue sections. I am going to reapply some up here as well. Just because I know I've handled the model a fair bit, I was just a little bit concerned about getting those highlights rubbed off, which I didn't want to do. So let's just add around this. Don't worry about all of these sections. And then here, let's go. Oh, it's quite rounded actually. Maybe just on the top here, let's do that. And I'm only going to bother doing the outside as well, because you're not really going to see the inside. Normally I would sit there for ages highlighting everything, but I'm not going to on these, because I'll probably have to paint a couple more of these as well, and I don't want to fall into a long process of, you know, putting my whole load into this one and then being like, oh, but now I've got to do it for all the other ones and feel like I have to. So I just wanted to get these kind of done. On tabletop ready, I like to think that these are a little bit just above tabletop ready. But I do also want these to, you know, I like I said, I enjoy painting, and I want these to be a good representation of my work, which is something that I like watching those speed paint, you know, videos and stuff. But I always sit there and I think, why? You know, why are you speed painting? Why do you want to get this done quickly? I can understand sometimes you've got a tournament or something, so yeah, you do want it. Or painting's not your thing. I completely understand that as well. But when I see really experienced painters painting stuff in like a day, I'm thinking, well, why? Did you really enjoy that? It sounds punishing. You know, absolutely brutal. And I often think, man, I would have loved to sit down with that box over, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. But that's just me. So there we go. Right, dirigible section done. I'm not touching that anymore whatsoever. That's me done there. So let's pop him somewhere. Let's pop him up there actually. And now let's have a look at this. Now, I think I'm going to do these sections silver. Now, maybe I should just paint the whole floor section silver. I like all these little dials on the floor. I didn't notice that before. That's really cool. Also, the outside's going to be blue. Maybe with the brass trim. Blue, white, brass. Maybe this section here, this bit in the middle could be brass as well, maybe. And then I'll paint this guy gold, this little, I don't know, it's like a little moon dude. I don't know. Oh yeah, because I got this bit as well, haven't I? Oh, poopy pants. I thought I was done with these little ball sections. Doesn't matter. I did notice that this has got another little ether thing on them. So I actually might do a little tutorial on how I did that effect. But I think that might have to wait for the next live now, because it is fairly time consuming to do. Well, not time consuming, but there's a lot to explain because of the colours and what I'm doing. And I want you to kind of, I'd rather that be the focus. So I think I might save that section for next time, maybe over the weekend, maybe Sunday I'll do another live. But for the minute, let's block in some brass, shall we? No, I think these sections, yeah, let's go with that. Why not? We can always change it, and that's the best thing about this, is I can always change it later. So let's get a little bit of this. Hi Ricky, how are you? I hope you're well, and I do hope you're feeling a lot better. So let's just mix this up. A bit more brass, actually. There we go. So let's go Maybe this would be blue as well. Oh man. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do this brass. Let's do the outside brass as well. Yeah, why not? I'm just winging the color combo now. I don't even know what I'm doing. So yeah, I've literally just completed the and I'll show you in just 2 seconds the main kind of body of it, which I think has turned out quite nice. Like the blimp bit thing, the dirigible section, which I'm really chuffed with actually. But there it is. So there's the dirigible section, which I'm really happy with. So I'm just I'll go there like that. So let's get the boat bit done. But it's a great model as well. Like, it's so much fun. So I'm really enjoying kind of painting this guy up as well. So I think that obviously always helps, is when you really enjoy a model. When you really enjoy a model, you're just like, I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone and I'm there. And that's exactly where I am right now. Really in the zone with these guys. Would you like to know the name for my Sky Fleet, Ricky? Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm really enjoying painting these. So I kind of wanted to just make sure it was good. But I'm probably going to get another couple of these. So I didn't want to go so far as to start highlighting everything so they had to match or whatever. So I kind of took it slow with this because I'm trying to work out the colors and how things are going to look, especially on the bigger boats. It's going to help me dictate, where all the colors go. But I'm pretty chuffed with, how that's going to look. I think that's when the cream goes really, really well together. So I'm quite happy with it. And that's what the the Kharadon, like you've just said, it was an army that I kind of like the look of for ages, and I never kind of did anything. I was just like, do I? And I've been so kind of like lately with models thinking, I'm always just painting the same type of things. It was like Space Marines or Necromunda, and I was like, I really, really, really would just want like a nice, good Age of Sigmar product. And I thought, and I was in my local GW the other week, and they had the Start Collecting box in there, and I was a little bit kind of, I know they're going to go over to a Vanguard box, which means you're going to get a lot of crap in there that I probably don't want. I think the Start Collecting box will be exactly the same, but they'll probably just throw a Arcanaut company in there or something. For you've got a battle line to start with, more than likely. But I was like, I really like this one because I'm going to use everything but maybe the Thunderers or the General. I definitely wanted the dirigible guy. I knew that from the word go. And I thought, do you know what? I thought I'm going to grab it. I'm just gonna treat myself. I'm going to get it, and I'm not going to worry about it. And that's exactly what I did. And you know what? I sat here and I've really enjoyed kind of learning little tidbits about them and just you know, blocking in the colours and just silly things like that. I've just been quite enamoured with them, if you will. There's something quite charming about these models, actually, the more I look at them. So I think I'll definitely pick up another start collecting box before they go. And then I will also, I think I'm gonna, my next big one will probably be a frigate to house my Thunderers, as I probably will keep them. I think it's probably wise that I don't limit myself too much to floating boys, although the main goal is to just have an army of everyone on floating things. But yeah, they're a great little, the models are really good. They go together really nicely. You can tell they're like I'd say a newer range, because they're getting on a little bit now, but they're definitely one of the better designed ranges. You can definitely tell that with the models and just how nicely everything goes together, as opposed to like those awkward little bits from when Age of Sigmar movie first come. The worst one for me was the Hammer Boys with wings, and they had like a scroll that attached to the base, and they were just like bouncing around everywhere. Or Ether Wings were another awful you know, model choice. They're just awful, just attached to a silly little twig or something. So I can see that here it's popping up that I'm having trouble with my chat connecting, so do just bear with us on that, as I think it's reconnecting. I think it's just taking a little bit of a while, maybe having a bit of a moment, but I'll give it 10 minutes or so, and if it doesn't come back on, then I'll probably call the stream there. If it does pop back, then that will definitely carry on. Oh, Kharadon. Every pun intended there. Let's just get some nice silver on that brush. So there we go. And let's just see how this is going to look. Now I'm hoping this will work quite well for these little deck sections. I did toy with kind of like having them brown, almost like an actual deck, but I don't know, I'm a little bit I thought maybe I'll just go with silver, as it kind of fits the metallic feel of the whole army. I am tempted to buy that Gloomtide shipwreck and just glue it back together and put a dirigible section on, because it's definitely a faction that gets your mind going, because you're like, oh, I wonder if I could do this, I wonder if I could do that, I wonder if I could, you know. So it's definitely one of those creative moments I'm having with this faction. Now we're gonna let that kind of settle down. I'll need to go over that again, but it's just working out whether the colours are going to work. I'm going to paint the outside last, I think, so I don't have to handle it as much. And I'll probably do that section last, the two tail fins, and then the bomb racks will go on. But that's where I am with everything. If someone's in the chat and they can just try and, I don't know, write a message quickly, I just want to see if that's coming through, because it's saying it's back, but I've just got a message saying it's unable to connect. So if someone could just let me know if messages are getting through, I don't know, just write a load of rubbish would be much appreciated. I don't know whether there's... Oh, way of editing chat things or what, but it's just saying unable to connect, so I don't know what's gone on there. Which is you know what, I'm not going to be disheartened about it, because do you know what, the sequels always worse than the original, and with first stream. I'm going to go with I don't know, the studio wanted just different things. Let's go like this. Now I think this is going to look quite nice, especially if I move the blue section up. Or do I paint this section here surrounding this a completely different color? Maybe a dark brown like I had originally intended. I don't know. I think I'll just paint the model and I'll let the model speak to me with what it kind of, you know, I'll see the colors together. Because if I have to add another color, I'll probably go back to some of the previous sections and maybe add a, I don't know, like a stripe of them in, just to make it look a bit more like, I don't know, it matches, coherent, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, consistent, that's it. I was always going to get there in the end. Let's make it look a bit more consistent, but we'll see. I'm just blocking all these bits and we'll take it from there. Okay, I don't think I've got a chat at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. I don't quite know what's happened there. And I don't want to pop out and end the stream to go back into it, because I want this all in one segment. So I think what I'll do is, because it doesn't look like it's back, I'm going to paint this floored section in, and then I'm going to call it there. Because I'll probably be back again on Sunday for another stream. I've got a fairly busy weekend. I just plan on sitting on a bath, really. I'm just going to have loads of baths. I love a bath. And I will, where I am now, as I don't think I'm going to get a lot done tomorrow with, wow, look at that, that's really metallic. You know, I know a lot of people moan about it, but I actually think GW does some really, really good metallics. Like that mixture, I've been mixing it's Skull Crusher Brass and Brass Scorpion together to make this kind of almost like yellowy, brassy colour, and it's fantastic because it shades down really nicely. So I think I'll do all the little wing bits last, because then I can handle the model. The other thing I'm going to need to work out is whether I'm going to do chipping or anything like that. But like I said, at the minute I'm leaning towards no. I like to think these guys probably maintain their stuff quite nicely, and they tend to look after it. Is what I'm going with. Well, at least I hope they do. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, well, the chat looks like it's gone, which is unfortunate. So I am going to say goodbye now to everyone. I will be back Sunday. I will put up a time over on Instagram. Probably sometime Sunday morning. So if you are interested, do stay alert from that, and maybe I'll kind of make it a bit more. Maybe I'll make it a little bit earlier, maybe about 6ish, as it's a school night. We'll take it from there. Just a few other things. You know, I did recently hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, which is obviously thank you to everyone that has shown support to the endeavour over on YouTube. It does mean a lot. I obviously wanted to start this channel because I wanted to help educate and teach people, educating people, as opposed to just me being some sort of weird YouTube icon. I've always said if I'm influencing you in any way, shape or form, you probably need to reevaluate your life choices. We're in a very dire situation if I'm your voice of reason or someone you're looking up to. But it's been a really, really good, positive journey so far, actually, and I've really, really enjoyed being on YouTube. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first. It's a lot of work, and I'm still very new to the editing software. And although the files, because the software I'm using doesn't like the .mov files that my iPhone records from, it's a lot clearer on live, actually, I noticed the other day. So it was quite nice to do live, and obviously the bigger the channel, I think at 1,000 subscribers you can start earning a little bit of money off of your videos and things, which obviously I do plan to reinvest into the channel to help equipment and things like that, a decent camera, an actual laptop, because I'm doing everything on Chromebook to begin with. So yeah, thanks for sticking with it. It is, it's only going to get better. The more people kind of do support it and shout and brag, and a subscriber is a click of a button, but honestly it really does make a big difference, like a really big difference, and I do really, really appreciate everyone. I do, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all very much, actually, for the kindness and support you've shown me. So on that note, I am going to end the stream there, because obviously I've got no chat at the moment, so I don't know if anyone's actually still watching or if this is even recording. So I'm stopping by, and next one.